Welcome to Blamestorming. Blamestorming. In a post-truth world, there's plenty of blame to go around. 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 Join Dave Cyrus and Marissa Smith as they blamestorm about today's hot topics.
Hey guys, this is Blamestorming. I'm Dave Cyrus. With me is Marissa Smith.
Hello, guys.
And our guests today are David Spector.
Hey.
And Jeremy Pinsley.
Yo.
And everyone, of course, before you have to ask, yes, all Jews. So we were just talking about racism in the Florida governor's race, if you're just joining us, which, of course, everyone is because the show just started. I'm a little upset that no one in the news media is willing to publish the actual racist robocall that went out against Mayor Gillum.
But I think that was at the request of Gillum, though. Like, he doesn't want this getting thrown around.
But aren't we sort of – here's the thing. If we're going to say, hey, everyone, be mad at this, aren't we asking for trouble by allowing all the people who don't want to acknowledge this to say, well, they won't even tell us what it is, so why should I trust it? I mean – it's like when you remove only Alex Jones's worst videos and not all of them, you're basically helping him be more palatable.
Yeah.
Or it's like when – I remember there was an article about the show Mike and Molly, you know, the show about the obese people. That's what it is. And someone said that there was a very offensive transphobic joke. And they had an article about how offensive it was and people need to stop watching the show. They didn't tell you what the joke was. That is unbelievably insulting.
Yeah.
To say, listen – You can't handle knowing what this is, but you have to trust me to hate them.
Exactly, yeah.
That is one of the worst things liberals can do.
Yeah, and meanwhile,
infantilize everyone.
Someone gets shot, and it's like, hey, let's show it from 15 different angles. This bullet entering his face. It's like, isn't that
but then,
traumatizing?
Which they don't do also. On the news, they won't show you someone getting killed, which I also disagree with.
No, I think they should. I think the news should show more people getting killed and what the after effects of that is. And that's it. That's my whole – no, but less, because then there's the other side of it where they talk about the actual serial killers or mass shooters, and then that inspires more mass shooters. They develop a hero worship. So maybe less of a focus on certain things actually does help to not perpetuate it.
Yeah, but the school shooter thing, it's like, what are we going to do? Just not acknowledge them?
They all have the same story. It's the same story over and over. They were loners. Girls didn't like them. It's not interesting.
Yeah, they're boring. It's not like anyone is like excited for them anyway. It's not like anyone out there is like, yeah, you get them. Like, I don't know.
Except for the people that become the next school shooter, because then they just want to beat their score.
Yeah.
Like, at this point, I feel like these school shooters just want to have the highest kill count. And I think that there is a valid point to not glorifying them by giving them, like, names, like, you know, like the Sandy Hook, like, shooter or whatever. And just kind of like, I think it should be gunmen killed.
That's
20
sort of
people.
what they do now, right? I mean, it's mostly, I don't think, did we know the name of the last one?
The gamer guy? Yeah.
Yeah, I think we know his
David
name.
Katz.
God damn it. Now people know his name.
It's Katz. He's got to be Jewish. Oh, no. Was he Jewish? Katz.
His name is Katz.
With his
I have a hard time imagining a Jew holding a gun. But
I saw the guy's picture.
Just like shooting it straight, it's not.
Yeah, I saw the guy's picture. I have no problem believing it.
Yeah.
That means the guy went to the tournament with the gun thinking, if I lose, I kill everyone.
Yeah.
Like, that's got to be an amazing thing because it's like,
that's the heart of a champion.
Wouldn't you be disappointed if he won? At that point, be like,
oh, damn it, I wanted to shoot people today.
Well, this is like a really dark thought, because I read that article before this, and there was a kid who survived who said, we're playing video games, we shouldn't have to worry about someone coming up behind us and shooting us, but that is exactly what a video game is.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but like when you go to like
Very
an event,
meta.
it's like when you go to an event.
That's like being. I mean, it's also like if I go to a boxing match, I get to complain if someone punches me in the back of the head.
Yeah,
I don't get. I can have a judge be like, I mean, why were you there?
Oh, I'm not saying it was. I wasn't advocating killing video game people.
It just seems like, I mean, his gun.
Although I do want that to happen. No, anyway.
What were they wearing?
Oh, the gamers. I'm gonna say
probably hoodies and like dirty shirts.
A lot of tracksuits.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say.
Well, then they shouldn't have worn that if they didn't want to get shot.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's bad.
How did he get that gun in like that? I mean, because
They didn't have metal. There's no
Well,
metal
that's
detector.
why the survivor is
He snuck it in
is-
through the Duck Hunter Pavilion.
Right.
He's suing the venue that they held the tournament, and also suing the I guess the makers of Madden that are responsible for the tournament. Basically, because there was no security, they didn't have to go through any metal detectors. They
No
had
one has to go through metal detectors anywhere, though.
Anywhere, yeah.
Yeah.
I,
Like-
I didn't go through.
Now
a metal
we will,
detector
though.
Here.
I sincerely hope that John Madden gets personally sued for this. I sincerely hope that John Madden has to go into court.
It takes the stand.
And he's like, look, in 1992, they said I have to. And they're like, Mr. Madden, when you signed that paper, did you even ask if they would be like, it was. They just said, can you use your name on a game? I didn't even know they were going to make more of them.
That'd be great
got-
if there was a provision in his contract where he is personally liable if this ever happens.
Like, I just want.
I stopped getting paid after Madden 2K.
I would love like 90-year-old John Madden going to get his mail, and there's just protesters out there like, how much blood is on your hands, Johnny? What happened?
Donkey Kong goes on TV and it's like, this man has tarnished our industry.
I have a more important thing to ask, though, and this is something I really feel strongly about. How is it possible that in 1989, Duck Hunt allowed you to take a gun and point it at your screen and shoot things based on where they were on the screen, and that was the last fucking time a video game let you do that? No, there has not been
That's
a
false.
mainstream. I'm not talking about the Wii. The Wii can go fuck
Oh
itself.
no, there was like a House of the Dead. I think it was Dreamcast.
But was it? But did you have a gun you could point
Yeah,
at the
there was like a
screen?
gun.
It wasn't
There
with
was
your
like-
stupid controller.
No, you
Yeah.
actually could buy like a gun, and they had one for Super Nintendo. Yoshi's like Safari had a bazooka.
So we're still talking 20 years ago.
Okay, well, yeah, 20 years.
That's
ago.
my problem.
Well, knowing this country and knowing how much we love the veneer of progress versus actual progress, I'm sure there was some political outcry where it's like, we have to get the toy guns out of the home versus like actual.
See that if that is real, that I don't think that happened because I feel like we would know if that was why they didn't make Duck Hunt anymore, or like those kind of games. It just seems like that was like the most fun game. You actually got to point a gun at the screen. But also, we love guns in the country. When they got rid of like realistic toy guns, at least that made sense. People were robbing convenience stores with guns they could buy at Toys R Us, and they said, okay, you have to stop making realistic.
Either a real gun or nothing. You
Right.
want to rob a store, you got to put in the work.
Yeah, no. They're like,
It's
oh,
the
no.
dishonesty.
Everyone has a right to a real gun. It's unfair to the guns. Yes, it was actually gun manufacturers lobbying for this, saying we're losing a lot of money that people don't need to buy a gun anymore to rob a store.
Yeah, you remember those airsoft guns that were like? I mean, I don't know. I guess.
Well, you can still get a
a.
very accurate. You can still get an accurate BB gun. You can still get a pneumatic gun. That looks real. I've had those. You can't get toys though, because a child can't buy that though. A child's not supposed to buy it.
Airsoft, you could get. We were like 16 when we bought. I mean,
But yeah,
they were like pellets. It wasn't BB. It was like,
but any kid can't just walk in and buy a BB gun.
not a BB gun, but
Isn't
back-
an airsoft gun a BB gun?
No, it's like a
pellet
it's
gun?
plastic. It was like between like a toy gun and a BB gun, so it was more sellable.
But couldn't you just put metal BBs in it?
no,
if you
it
put
got
pla-
it was like a certain.
Well,
it had to get
how
loaded.
fast would it shoot? Like, would
Really?
it hurt?
There was like a shotgun one, and it fucking hurt really bad. Like you pump it up, and if you got hit close, like
Oh, I know what you're talking
Plenty
about.
of people
like-
have died from taking BBs to the eye or the chest. I mean, it can go right if it
Yeah.
just doesn't hit a bone. It can go right hit into your heart. People die like that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they are dangerous weapons. And
BBs don't kill people, okay? People kill people.
that's true. That's true. It's the
and
doctors who can't
Butterfinger
save them.
BBs do as well.
So Dave, what's going on with Candace Owens right now?
Oh, so I wanted to bring this up because David's here. So Candace Owens, who is one of the worst people to exist, she's a Trump supporter, and she's one of these, I think, like Ann Coulter, an anger fetishist.
Yeah.
I think that she gets a fetishistic thrill out of upsetting normal people and just saying horrible things. And she is one of the many Republicans who decided to take advantage of Molly Tibbetts' murder. Molly Tibbetts was murdered, and a undocumented immigrant has been accused of the crime. They believe that he is guilty. He's almost certainly guilty. He brought them to the body.
yeah.
So he did it. But yeah, he's undocumented, and so a lot of people were very excited when that happened because they're like, oh, we get to use him against all other Mexicans, or excuse me, all other immigrants, or all the illegal immigrants. Which,
Yeah.
though, if you're paying attention to the Trump supporters right now, they already have their toe in the water of lumping legal immigration too. Laura Ingraham, of course, was it Laura Ingraham?
Yes.
Who came out and she said, she was like illegal and legal immigrants, and I've seen the terms and legal brought into it more because we all know that's what this is about. It's not like the Trump administration isn't also stopping legal immigration too. That's been a major thing. They're backlogging applications. They're trying to make it harder.
And they're denying passports to legal Hispanic citizens.
Yes,
Yeah.
they are.
Yeah.
Like people of Mexican descent that live along the border, they're not allowing them to renew their passports or get new
Yeah,
passports.
they're trying. This is just a game they're playing.
Yeah.
So,
And the
Candace
strange thing
Owens.
is they're claiming that it's because they had an epidemic of like fake midwives that were like forging where people were born, and so like they're saying that like that these people were born in like Mexico, but these like midwives were faking saying that they were born across the border.
Oh, fuck you.
At the
They
end of
did
the-
the same thing to the Jews in Germany. No, fuck that.
At the end of the day, if they were given carte blanche, they would get every single Hispanic American citizen lined up, and then it would be up to them to prove they're citizens.
Yeah.
And they would then be let back in 5 a day based if they could have absolute proof. They fucking hate brown people. So Candace Owens, who, like I said, is just an unbelievable piece of shit as a human being.
Yeah.
It seems like she lives to just offend people and just be toxic and hateful. And she gets a thrill out of it. Like a serial killer sexualizes doing something wrong. I think that's what's going on here.
It's kind of like the Milo Yiannopoulos thing where there's nothing really going on intellectually.
Nothing.
They just know that if they keep talking and saying outrageous things, they get more attention. There's no talent. There's no
Right.
depth of thought.
It's what Ann Coulter's been doing for
button
20
pushers.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Candace Owens, like many people, was trying to use Molly Tippett's murder as this racist attack on all, undocumented immigrants and by extension immigrants in general, and what she specifically said was, this proves you were wrong to be upset about the hundreds of children taken away from their parents. So she was making this about the liberals who she said were hypocrites for being upset about children being taken away but not murdered. And she said by complaining about that, you are responsible for the fact that this man was in the country, as if that even made sense.
Well, as much as I dislike her, I have to acknowledge when she has a good point. And
And Molly
That one's spot on. How do you refute it?
And Molly Tippett's cousin,
Yeah.
like many of her family members,
Yeah.
said, "This is wrong. Stop using our family's tragedy to push this racist agenda." And they also started pointing out something they would not have pointed out had they not done this. Molly Tibbetts considered this exact kind of politics evil and racist.
Yeah.
She was a liberal. She supported the family's been very supportive of Latino Americans,
Yeah.
Latino people in general. And Candace Owens was such a disgusting piece of shit that she replied to that person
Yeah.
and said and started yelling at her, the cousin, saying, "How dare you talk about Donald Trump? You don't have a word to say about the illegals who are killing people like your cousin."
you know what that is? And I mean this really seriously. That really hurt Candace Owens because the core of this whole Trump thing is genuine fear and cowardice, that you use this kind of genocidal kind of rhetoric and policy to mask. It's a reaction. So when she sees somebody who goes through the very thing that she is most afraid of and be a bigger person than she really could ever be capable of, that is a core that really hurts her at her core. I believe that.
I think that is a very, very specific thing with Trump supporters. They have a deep hatred of anyone who can be, quote, the bigger man.
Yes.
That's why they hate John McCain.
Yeah.
They resent the idea because they need to tell themselves, I'm not capable of being this person.
Well, they just
no
want
one
to accuse
is.
everyone of
Yeah.
virtue
Yeah.
signaling, and I don't.
It's like, no, it's just having virtue.
Yeah.
They think being a hero or being a good person is like fake. When in some people,
Because
they're
to
just
them
good
it is.
people. Yeah.
Because they would only do this to be fake. And they don't, like, it's the way they think that the deep state is anyone in Washington who is not fiercely loyal to Donald Trump. They don't even accept the concept that there are people who just actually want to do a good job.
When you lie all the time, you can't contemplate that someone could be telling the truth.
Right.
Selflessness. What the hell are you talking about? It's
Yeah,
like,
and I unfriended someone, a fan, of mine on Facebook, never met him, someone who friended me as a fan of my comedy. And
Was her name Tiffany, and she had 3 pictures, and they were all her with her boobs coming
No.
up? Yeah.
no, it's not one of the girls that you're the only mutual friend of when they get the request of Jeremy. So this is a guy who was an actual, and he defended that. He said, I don't understand what's wrong with that. When I showed her reaction, and Candace Owens actually yelling at this woman saying, and I said, all I said to the person was like, so you approve of both these tweets that Candace Owens put up? And he said, and he acted like, he was like, yeah, why are defending, a murder by an illegal? He's like, of course. And I just said the words, I'm incredibly disappointed in you.
And I loved that. I loved that response.
And I unfriended him. Yeah. And the fact that this is someone I've never met, this is just someone who contacted me and said, I love your comedy. I love to, I want to be friends. And I was like, of course. And then this was their reaction. And I'm not going to flame the guy. I'm not going to start yelling. Because I want them to understand they're beneath my anger. I meant what I said. I am disappointed in you as a person, and I want you to know that I don't find you acceptable as a friend. And I unfriended them. And I've done that to ex-girlfriends. I've done that to a lot of people since Trump because I want them to understand this is beyond unacceptable.
John McCain has rubbed off on you, Dave.
Real maverick.
No, that was Larry.
Speaking of
that was
Louis.
Larry Craig in an airport bathroom. And it's like and when people say the reason that I do that, the reason I did that with a few people was because I hear people have this argument of you can't call them stupid. We want to get them back in the tent. We want to get them part. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
We want to defeat them. We didn't want to get the Nazis back to be integrated. We want to destroy the ideology and then have them come groveling back to join real society, which they did and became one of the best countries on the planet right now. Germany is now one of the most respectable countries in terms of morality and treating people with respect.
Well, they're having
having
a far-right
immigration.
influx right now. They're going
Yeah.
through their own version of what we're going through.
They're having like riots and stuff.
Yeah.
That'll be fine.
It was a nice few years.
I'm sure. It'll be fine.
It was a
But
good
there's
one.
a
while it
I'm
lasted.
glad I got to see
Their
it before it went back.
current establishment is a very respectable one.
If Merkel can hold her political coalition and we could all kind of get through this wave and what you were predicting turns out to be the case that we get past this quickly, then hopefully.
This is about. I mean, look, we are right now at war with the past. We are at war with not just the recent past. We're at war with millions of years ago. These people want to go back to caves in terms of mentality. They want to go back to pure medieval tribalism.
Men are
Yeah.
this and women are this and we do that and it's just black and white and easy. They want the
people.
simplicity.
It is exactly. It is all people who cannot fathom the complexity of the world and think that they can create an artificial structure to make it something that they can that's palatable for them.
They don't want to grow. Growing is hard, and they just want to.
And I empathize with all of that. The not being able to handle the complexity of the world and wanting a superficial thing. That's why I fucking go on the internet and zone out sometimes. You don't have to turn it so dark, but it's also like, as far as getting Trump voters back in, I think it's like these Nazis are just scum and should be just like never paid any heed to. But then the so-called working class voters who voted for Obama and then Trump, I think some of those could probably vote Democratic again if it took a more socialist bent on certain issues that spoke to the working class.
Yeah, and I don't think every Trump supporter is someone
Yeah.
who sees Candace Owens screaming at the family of a murder victim that she's a hypocrite and that she has no right to dislike Trump if she's not going to agree with the racism of her party. I don't think that every Trump supporter is going to agree with that. I think a lot of them look at that and they're like, man, I think a lot of them are just really uncomfortable right now. And
But I also think they don't want to admit that they were wrong. So I think that they're just going to stay and ride the wave. Because if they go and say, oh, well, I voted for Trump because of economics and immigration, and then I see Candace Owens tweet and I have to say, well, maybe I was wrong about these people. Maybe I am a deplorable. And they don't want to look in the mirror like that. And I think they'll also say that, well, Candace Owens is a black woman. She can't be racist. Like that. This is if she's saying that these Mexicans are killing American citizens. The liberals are just being snowflakes saying that this black woman is racist. How can she be racist?
Yeah, really.
That's why. Oh, sorry.
I'm just saying it brings up that same point that people keep saying only white people can be racist, which is this: the word racism has to do with power structure. But when you're not white, but you're attacking another threatened class, what do you call that? I mean, George Zimmerman was a racist. It doesn't matter that he was half Hispanic. He was a fucking racist.
Oh, yeah. And it's also like the way power gets discussed sometimes on the left, I take umbrage with, where it's like it's a predominantly white male society. I don't think anybody here would disagree with that. But to say that...
Women are 51%, David.
Also, we've had all minority presidents.
Yes.
Yeah. But that's not to say that Candace Owens, who has a lot of money, a lot of influence, her ideology is in the White House right now. That she is part of the power structure.
Exactly.
She's a black woman, but and there's other ways that she may not be.
And guess what? There's no one from Antifa that was sitting with Obama.
Yeah.
They call Antifa, which I don't know if you know this, has literally 14 members now. And they act like they are the Democratic Party, whereas it's the Republicans who are the ones that are actually having the fringe crazy people in power.
Oh, yeah.
There's no one from Antifa running for Congress.
It would defeat the point of Antifa. They're like an anarchistic organization. Yeah. They only show up when there are fascists there, and then you can agree or disagree with their methods, but they're not just like around.
This lie they've created about Antifa, that somehow this phantom organization that you just heard about makes everything Nazis do okay.
Yeah.
And I saw people people who hate being called Nazis say, well, you're a piece of shit if you marched against those Nazis in Charlottesville because that makes you Antifa. And I had someone say, so if I was your son, and I said, Nazis are coming, I'm going to protest them, you would be on the Nazi side. And there's by the way, this wasn't a Republican. This was an openly white supremacist march in Charlottesville.
Yeah.
That they were then saying, and by the way, if you actually look at what happened, what the reports were of everyone who was there saying, it was saying, Antifa was going around stopping Nazis from killing people.
Yeah.
They were trying to protect
Batman.
Antifa goes back to the 30s. With the emergence of the Nazi Party and especially fascism in Britain, Antifa popped up to try to get rid of those guys.
Because there were people who were trying to use physical violence as a political tool.
Yeah.
Right.
You have to use violence back.
Yes, exactly. And also, Antifa's just going to make things worse. When's the last time you heard about Richard Spencer? When's the last time you heard about, Mao wasn't taken down by Antifa, but all these guys?
because he's a kitty toucher.
Yeah. And,
Whoa. Milo is not a child toucher. He is someone who advocates for child touching.
Big difference.
If I had a bunch of videos saying that a man should be allowed to have sex with a horse, would you just assume I've had sex with horses too? Can I just be in favor of freedom?
It's like Joe Paterno and Jerry Sandusky. Someone just kind of waving him on through.
I feel like that's worse being the advocate, though, because there's always that level of, oh, man, these guys are monsters, but they have no control over themselves, where he's, like, got an ideology of pedophilia.
Right.
Like, he's in favor of it.
Well, did he say, was he molested? Oh, no, that was the Dutch guy. That was the Dutch pedophile politician. That was a famous Dutch politician who advocated pedophilia because he was molested and he said he liked it, which means everyone should, I guess.
Oh, God.
That was a famous...
Did you see Spotlight?
No.
Yes.
There's a scene in Spotlight where a reporter knocks on a pre-store, and I'm assuming that this is true because it's so absurd that if you made it up for the movie, it would discredit the entire movie, where the reporter knocks on the pre-store and she's like, hey, have you ever, like, touched a kid? And the priest goes, oh, yeah, many times. We do oral sex, and it happened to me as a kid. I was molested, so I know what that's like. But everybody liked it. And he just, like, and then his sister came to the door. It's like, stop talking to her.
That's fine. It probably was true if he was, like, mentally ill. He just didn't know he had to keep
He
it
forgot
quiet.
to call his lawyer. Just like, I'll go. I got this one.
Because that could be, there's in psychology, there's two kinds of there's pathological or neurotic disorders. Pathological ones are chemical, they're in your brain, and neurotic disorders are ones based on like the experiences you've had. And that could be a neurotic one. That could be just that like that's how his brain broke.
Yeah.
That like as he was doing these horrible things, he had to convince himself that there was nothing wrong with this because of this cycle. And so of course if someone asks him, he's going to be the first one. It's kind of like how Trump keeps just openly talking about obstructing justice because he thinks that's going to make him like get off
It's
the
going
hook.
to make it look legal.
He's like, well, why would I be saying it like this if it was a crime? What do we got?
It's like while we're talking about Trump. So now, what is Trump trying to do with Canada right now in this trade deal?
Trump got caught being off the record with Bloomberg, where he said that he was purposely making the Canadian trade agreements, trade negotiations impossibly humiliating for Canada so that they cannot say yes, and that way he could humiliate them by saying we could not come to a deal. Canada had already said they believed this was happening. They could just tell. And then Trump says, like, how he says the incredibly dishonest media, they said off the record. Well, you just acknowledge that they're telling the truth, so you can't really call them dishonest in that. And it's Bloomberg. It's not exactly a liberal news organization. Here's a question. Why are you such an incompetent president that you told the reporter, hey, listen, this is really important. Nobody knows this. You got to keep double secret, but I just need to let you know how great I am. I'm going to. And yeah, so because he hates Justin Trudeau. He needs to have an enemy. He needs to lash out at someone. He made it impossible for there to be a trade deal.
Well, that's
with
what
Canada.
fake tough guys always do, right? He doesn't take on actual malefactors in the world. He lashes out at the people closest to him who he knows will have the least likelihood of retaliating.
Yeah, it's like a guy who screams at his mom.
Exactly.
Like a tough guy.
Or picks on
Yeah.
the smallest kid at the school. It's like, really? That kid's the one you're going to punch in the face? Come on.
I
Yeah.
think he just hates Trudeau because Trudeau is young and attractive, and that Ivanka makes doe eyes at him. I think that is basically he's just being like a jealous bitch.
He probably
I
does,
think-
but he would hate him for many other reasons. Anyway.
But I think
Yeah.
when Trump looks in the mirror, he sees Trudeau. Like, I don't think he thinks of himself as like, oh, I'm this old pudgy guy. I think he really thinks he's that.
That's true.
Yeah.
He probably does have
He
body
sees him as a
dysmorphia.
boy and him as like a man. He's like, big old man, a woman wants this. It's like, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. He definitely looks at Trudeau, and whatever he sees, he finds a way that he's the more attractive. But yeah, I mean, he hates Canada just because Canada has maintained the respect of the world. And he's like Kevin Spacey in House of Cards. He would rather tear everyone down than build himself up. He's like, I'm going to be better simply by making everyone worse, which of course is exactly what Vladimir Putin's been doing for 20 years.
Yeah.
Vladimir Putin has the most depressing foreign policy secret ever. He just wants everything to be shitty everywhere so that Russia is not as shitty by comparison. That's why he props up these idiot right-wing ideologues all over, these morons, these populist right-wing radio assholes. He just wants them to be president everywhere just because it just makes the whole world shittier. That's it. That's his whole plan. That is so he just wants Berlusconi's and all these just morons just because they're like, that nothing is going to make Russia that great. But if we make everywhere else a 6,
Yeah.
suddenly it's not so bad having a country that's a 5.
So he wants the world to be his fat friend that he looks hotter by comparison with.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
he's
even
Hansel and Greteling. You get that, and you.
there's even a long-term plan here that I think might be what's going on. Because if he's really looking long-term, which if Russians are good at one thing, it's patience. I mean,
Don't forget hockey. Come on.
yeah, they do love their chess. They love to take a long game. Is it possible that so Vladimir Putin props up right-wing leaders all around these countries, but Putin also wants to invade countries and not be in danger. And usually it's the right-wing countries that would be more angry at that, would be more traditionally right-wing would be the ones to stop them from invading
They're more
Crimea.
hawkish.
If this was Reagan era,
Yeah.
you would say, who do you think is going to be involved when Russia invades a country, the Democrats or the Republicans? And these plans do go back that far. What if he's just trying to make the concept of conservatives ruined? He's just trying to prop up all these idiot right-wing ideologues because he thinks the end result of this will be a substantially more liberal world where Russia is in less danger of militaristic countries.
I mean, that's an interesting theory.
Well, yeah.
I don't.
I think that's what a lot of right-wing people here fear. I think that's what they're like, well, we're all going to become a bunch of pussies, and the Russians and Koreans going to take over.
And it doesn't it seem like Donald Trump in the long term, if you were really smart and looking at this before you did any of this, and you were like, what if I got the most corrupt, crazy, idiot president? Wouldn't you think the end result of that would be the rejection of the Republican Party, the rejection of conservatism, and a world that would end up being a lot less willing to go to war?
I will push back on a couple things. I mean, Jimmy Carter pushed back on Russia when they invaded Afghanistan. We never really got into a military, any kind of military imbroglio with Russia because we knew we couldn't due to mutually assured destruction. I think both parties have been equally anti-Russia for a long time. I think that has a lot more to do with what Putin is doing, because he's not just putting up the Republican Party, he's putting up a very specific people who he knows are loyal and financially dedicated to him. What's interesting about Trump and the way he maneuvers is I see Trump as a guy who is fundamentally incapable of thinking in terms of systems. He sees the world interpersonally. So you look at like this trade deal with Mexico and Canada, and like NAFTA did fuck over a lot of working people in this country. It was not a trade deal made with the working class in mind. Now, the people proponents of it would argue with me on that. That's my opinion.
Well, the thing is, Mexican people would say
Yes.
that it destroyed them for America.
Yes, because it took away their farming and it took away our manufacturing. And
Someone benefited from it.
well, yeah, I mean, the very rich benefited from it. They benefit from everything. And so, but in Trump's head, so he sees that a lot of people are angry at this trade deal, but he can't see as like, oh, so this is a very bad, due to class shenanigans deal for workers. What he sees is Mexico fucked us and Canada fucked us, so we're gonna fuck them. Where that's not how these things actually go down in the real world.
If you really want to know how stupid Donald Trump is, a perfect example of that, and not just stupid, but why he's a kind of stupid that a lot of people are simply unable to understand. He gave a speech years ago where he said, I would put tariffs on China. He goes, here's what I would do. He was telling people, he was like, the problem is I would put tariffs on, I would put a 25% tariff on China.
Yeah.
The problem, it's all about tone. He goes, if I go in there and I say, hey, listen, we have to put this tariff on China and this is what we're going to do, they wouldn't accept it. But if I walked in there and said, listen, you motherfuckers, we're putting a 25% tax, and that's how it's going to be. Anyone who hears that and thinks, this guy knows what he's talking about, is brain dead.
Yeah, totally.
You have to be dumb as
Don't
a
talk
fucking
about my friends that
brick
way.
to think that that's how real negotiation
That's
works.
his mom.
yeah.
That's
Dave.
how
Oh, my family, dude.
that is how the dumbest people alive think negotiation works.
Yeah, and it shrinks the world so it can fit in your head.
Yes.
It's complete. So in terms of like, I never in my life think we'll see an end to conservatism or right-wing government. I think, if anything, it has more of its shit together than left-wing parties across the world. But I think with like why Putin wants to put these people in is that he kind of is playing a different game now where, all right, so the U.S. has all the advantages in terms of world stature, the ability to impose sanctions. So he just has to subvert that through kind of like interpersonal, well, I'm just going to start fucking with their systems so it's so destabilized that they're not going to be able to hurt me as badly.
Yeah, I don't think he's trying to promote liberalism around the world so much as I think he's trying to install oligarchs around the world that they can kind of manipulate with each other through money. I just think that basically,
Which is a smaller game, a smaller, pettier game.
Right. Yeah. And so, that's why, if he's going to if he's going to install a president in the United States, it's going to be someone that he can manipulate their debt, that he can very easily put them on the barrel, because he couldn't do that to someone that had nothing and nothing to lose. He has to do it to someone that literally needs his money. And then it's the same thing with if you're looking at China is supposed to be communist, but it's really socialist with oligarchs also. Most of the ruling class in China are they're billionaires, and then the rest of the country is either lower middle class or completely starving.
China figured out that things get done when you have 8 rich people and then 1 billion poor people who would just work.
And so I think that is
Queen
basically
bee, worker bee mentality. I guess.
Yeah, I think that is the real thing that he's trying to. Because when you talk about Berlusconi or whatever, anyone that he is in favor of is just an oligarch, and I just think that he feels like if he puts in enough people around the globe that are indebted to him in some fashion, then he is able to, like de facto, like just be ruler of the world.
He can't
just
win by
because-
the rules.
It's like
Yeah.
it's like Hunger Games. It's like if you go there, you can try and fight by yourself, but you're going to lose. But if you find the two most powerful people and you're like, hey, let's the three of us fuck everyone else up, and then we'll
Right.
deal with our shit when we got to deal with it. But
Right.
inevitably, though, you're dealing with another problem of, now you turn the gun to each other.
Also, like, there isn't enough focus in the media about what was going on in Russia during the Obama administration. I mean, he invades the Ukraine and then he gets kicked out of the G8, I believe he was,
Yeah.
is the G7. And then not only that, but then, and I remember this happening, gas dropped, the price of oil dropped. We went back to like late 1990s rates for like a tank. And then Russia's economy cratered because it's a
Right.
mostly oil exporting economy, and like really bad. Like people were waiting to like buy things until after the economy dropped, or they were trying to buy things before it because there wasn't going to be supplies of things anymore.
Yeah.
And then prices for everything failed and businesses went under. So like they hit like a real. So a lot of that stuff I think is kind of
And their
rooted.
mortality rate is insane there
Yeah.
as well. Like they're like dying in their like 40s.
Yeah, they're just
Yeah.
it's not a great country, and there's nothing redeemable about the way Trump grovels to them. They have
Yeah.
nothing over us.
Yeah.
they have
No,
something
they
on
have
him.
not-
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. They don't. He acts like, well, if we're not nice to Russia, they'll kill us all. Like, when did the Republicans become these fucking pussies?
And it's
just begging for this guy to not hurt us.
It's so true. I mean, it was just the point of like, I forgot what point I was trying to make.
But here's the thing: we know that Russia gives tons of money to the NRA.
Yeah.
You can't buy a gun in Russia, but they care a lot about Americans' right to have guns. So we know why that is, right?
They want us all to be dumb and kill each other.
Yeah, they want destabilized America.
Yeah.
And they're recognizing that you destabilize America by having people like Trump and Arpaio and the NRA. So they're recognizing that it's bad for us to have that mentality, right?
I mean, I see what you're getting at, but I feel like that goes par and parcel with the Republican Party long term. Like, I think that the party on its own, without Russia and without Trump, has been doing a lot to really fuck up this country for a long time.
Yeah.
And then all they're really doing is manipulating the structures that they built. Like, all Russia had to do was see, Fox News lies all the time, and it brainwashes half the country. What if we started lying using the same tools, and to those same people?
They did a poll and they actually found out people that watch Fox News on a regular basis know less facts about current events than people that don't read the news at all.
Yeah, because word of mouth is more accurate than Fox News.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I don't know if Mike Pence said the only news you should believe is word of mouth. There is nothing that says a man knows he's lying like that. Nothing. Mike Pence is so bad at this. He's so bad at making his lies seem believable because it's like, we know you don't believe that.
Well, that's just-
word of mouth. What does that even mean? Where would they get it?
Yeah.
Who told that
yeah,
person?
you have to learn it from somewhere.
It's like that fucking monster Elon Musk who said he wanted, who suddenly became this supervillain and was like, I figured out how to stop fake news. People vote on which news is real. How the fuck do they know?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Congratulations, Elon. Autism is caused by vaccines now. Congratulations. Evolution's not real. Black people have a certain smell because you just made it so that every fucking idiot can vote on the most horrible things ever and just make them real.
Yeah.
We smell like heaven.
Those were all facts, by the way. I want to make sure we're all
Like, those are all things that if you let the average American decide if it was true or not, suddenly would be in fucking school.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Elon Musk comes from that Silicon Valley world of these like loner geniuses who like never fitted socially, but they were good at coding. So now they think they know how the entire world works.
No, Elon Musk comes from the third moon outside Proxima Centauri.
I do love that he makes an electric car and is also evil. I just think that's great.
Yeah.
Well, I've been on that goddamn list for a year and a half, and they can go fuck
My
themselves.
brother just got one. Big news.
How?
He waited for a year and a half. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's not that. No, he didn't. They have not. They have not given anyone the promised $35,000 lower model yet. Did he
Maybe
pay
didn't
more?
get the-
I have no idea what he paid. I was told he got a Tesla.
I was
from
told
my
that.
mom.
I was told
Is it
that.
fake news? Who knows?
I was told.
Let's vote on it.
I was told that
Wisdom of the crowd.
I was told that Tesla has not released any of the actual originally promised low end prices.
Maybe that's just what they
you
said
have
to
to
you.
either spend $50,000 to get to get the much more expensive version with nothing good added, or you have to buy like the $70,000 one, or you have to be an employee of it. If he got it now, because I've been on that list since May of 2017.
But dude, why would you want that car? Because like if it breaks down and shit, they make it impossible for you to get new parts and like repair it. Like they're really dicks to you at that company.
Yeah, no, I don't want it now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna settle for a goddamn i3 if I have to. A used i3. You ever see an i3? Looks like a Tonka car. But I need to have some. I can't go back to full gas.
You want that Tesla? Don't kid yourself.
Well, I didn't love the Tesla, but I was like, all right, cool. It's a good price, and you get a big government subsidy, and they just ruined it all. No one's gonna get the subsidy now because they're gonna push back when everyone gets it until after the subsidy's already expired. It's a $7,500 federal subsidy that they're now throwing away. These people can go fuck themselves. Elon Musk, and then calls a guy a pedophile because he pointed out that your stupid submarine wouldn't work, you egomaniac piece of shit. And now did you hear? Elon Musk has been contacting the CEOs of corporations when he finds out that someone tweeted something negatively about them. He finds out their job. He goes to the Twitter, finds out their job, and then calls someone to fire them. He is a piece of shit.
This guy's mentally ill. I spoke to somebody whose son works as a parts manager in a Tesla dealership. And I'm like, oh, cool. That's a good job. And she goes, yeah. He was so shocked when the Elon Musk called him up and offered it to him himself. Any CEO who's talking to the parts manager of a specific dealer, that guy's insane.
Yeah,
like he's a micromanager. He's nuts.
That's mentally ill.
I read an article about how miserable his life was. He was like, I'm so stressed out. And it's like, dude, just stop.
You're a billionaire.
Yeah.
You're a billionaire.
You have the power to not make your life suck if you just stop being such an asshole who needs the ego to be fed.
He's got Azealia Banks in his house for some reason. The guy's living in hell. He is living in hell. Azealia Banks was in his house for a week tweeting about it because she was supposed to do a song with Grimes and was like tweeting about and Azealia Banks is also like the most famously mentally ill person in music. And she's in Elon Musk's house. He's saying she's not there. She's posting fucking photos from the inside of it, being like he won't even he like walks around not making eye contact with me. No one tells me why I'm here or why I've been waiting for a week to do this song.
So that's how everything works in his life. You have to wait for the $35,000 Tesla. She has to wait for the girl for Grimes. It's just anything around him. There's a long waiting list.
No, I've heard that he actually sleeps in his office though. That he doesn't even really he goes to his house when on weekends, but he literally lives in his office.
And all his businesses suck. I always like to point this out. None of his businesses are profitable. I mean, PayPal made him a lot of money. Tesla doesn't make money. SpaceX doesn't make money. Solar City or whatever the fuck doesn't make money. Maybe the flamethrower thing is making money.
Nobody wants to use PayPal now. You tell people you want to use PayPal, they look at you like you just put money in an envelope and threw it in the ocean.
It's like offering someone a greenback.
And by the way, he does not sleep in his office. That's just what he tells his wife to explain why he doesn't sleep at home.
Yeah.
And he tells everyone in the office he sleeps at home. If the man doesn't sleep, he's not a human being.
There was an article I read about other Elon Musk figures, and this is just a story that always sticks with me. And I think it's a very similar personality type, where they were arguing over whether or not there should be public school, and all these libertarian computer nerds were like, "No, absolutely not." And the writer's like, "Why?" And then one of them goes, "They told me I was a bad writer growing up, but look at me now." And the writing he does now is Harry Potter fan fiction online. But he thinks that the public education stifled him from his bullshit fan. You know what I mean? They're all crazy people.
We have an ego problem.
Yeah,
we have a major ego problem in this country. I've even heard people theorize that it's because of all the antidepressants in the water supply. Because chemically, it gets filtered in the water supply, and we're just all drinking this cocktail of psychoactive drugs, which sounds crazy. It's not that crazy. I mean, people thought it was crazy that people said that leaded gasoline was making everyone stupider, and it was.
Yeah.
Leaded gasoline had a long-term horrible effect on a lot of people. It's why we had that spike in crime, they say,
Lead
in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's our own stupid fucking egos. It's our own doing.
Well, ever since I switched to drinking unleaded gasoline, I've been a lot better.
So, Dave, now, what are your thoughts on Trump freezing federal workers' pay, considering that the economy is so great now. It's the best.
You know that I hate Trump, but I also think that all civil service employees have had it too good for too long. I am tired of having the boot of the meter maid on my neck. I am tired of walking to a restaurant and all the tables have been given to mailmen.
They're eating their lobster tails.
I am sick and tired. I am sick and tired of being stuck in traffic while some garbage man in a Ferrari gets to just go right past me and run that red light because he can afford the ticket. The thing is, Trump fans hate it when you bring up how good the economy is because it contradicts everything else they say.
Yeah.
We have to why are we having to prime the pump when the economy's good? That's what causes overheating and ruins everything. Why are we having to fuck over all our trade how are our trade partners fucking us when we have the best economy ever?
Yeah.
And the reason we have to make those cuts, of course, is because Trump just added trillions of dollars to the deficit by wanting to cut taxes and then spend a lot of money because he doesn't care. He won't be here when we have to pay for it.
Nor does the Republican Party as a whole, though. Like that tax bill, any Republican president would have passed.
You know what's amazing about this is, here's the thing. Stopping people from getting pay raises is worse than firing them. It is. Because when you fire someone, what you're saying is, well, we can afford to have this many employees. When you just cancel pay raises, you're saying, well, I want to squeeze these people.
Yeah.
So when Obama fired a bunch of federal employees, it was specifically as a cost-cutting measure. It was about waste. It was about saying, and then I remember Republicans, and this was like one of the saddest lies I saw them make about Obama when they would talk about Obama's economy. Like, yeah, but what about all the government jobs he lost? I'm like, you're Republicans.
Yeah.
You're supposed to celebrate every
Lack
time
of
we
government.
cut waste.
Yeah.
Less government, less big brother. But that's very different than just telling those same employees you need to simply learn to live with less.
Well, it's just like it eliminate.
That's not about waste.
Yeah, no, that's just like makes working life hell.
It's just
there's
callousness.
no future. There's no appreciation for the time you put in. You're just like,
It's just cruelty.
yeah.
And as you said before, like that's their one stance now is the economy. Like he's the best. How can you deny this guy? It's like if that's your argument, and then he can't take care of his own people, how good is the fucking economy? What
and
are
it
you
was
talking
only
about?
like a 2% increase. It wasn't even like a 5% increase.
It was an increase that those people had been promised, had been
Right.
expecting, had been relying on.
And he just cut taxes for millionaires and corporations.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Because he hates poor people. He doesn't respect anyone, but he's an authoritarian. He only respects people who have as much money as him.
But this-
you know what? We can't have a country where people are only respected if they have $6 million or more dollars. Because that's how much money Trump has.
6 million was a very convenient number for you, but yeah.
He's a billionaire.
But in that case, it's a real number. In the case of Trump's assets, it actually is $6 million. Not like all the other lies about $6 million, whatever.
But this is a policy I think any Republican president would have done. Like, I doubt Trump knows he's doing this. You know, it was probably something Mike Pence just authorized.
You know what, though? You can't do that while bragging about the great economy.
Oh, yeah,
You
totally.
can't do that while saying that we have the money to give back billions to rich people, but we don't have enough money to have the expected pay raises.
Yeah.
And look, Obama did it too, but I literally saw something like, well, Obama did it too. Yeah. What year did Obama
Yeah.
say we couldn't afford those pay raises?
Yeah.
Was it 2009, you fucking asshole? He inherited the best economy imaginable from Obama.
Yeah.
Obama inherited the worst economy imaginable, and these people would start a fire in their own house to not have to acknowledge that point when they talk about the economy.
Yeah.
They just came up. There was a Fox News article about the economic recovery. They're calling it the Trump recovery.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
The Trump recovery. As in, the economy was really, really bad.
But
yeah.
but that is something the Democrats should be better about is or Obama should have been is the messaging of it. As stupid as Trump is, just posting it all caps, greatest economy in the world of all time. Like that sends the message out. Like I think most people didn't really get what was going on during the Obama years.
Well, I think Obama was under the impression that people had not devolved to the point that they were dumb enough to fall for this. And no one knew how dumb everyone was. Now and only after Trump are we all like, oh my God, we could have actually elected a real Hitler. It's thank God this guy's so stupid.
Yeah.
Because these people are ready to accept anyone.
Yeah. I mean, that is the kind of the scary point, is that as bad as he is, like, if he was actually intelligent and is like, you know, maniacal at the same time, like, what, like, we already have children in cages right now. Like, what would happen?
It's like more Putin. Like, I feel like he's more of that balance, and that's why he's scarier to me than someone like him, where this guy's sitting back watching these guys do this, and he's got a bigger plan, I feel like.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Putin exists because Russia has simply become a culture that worships power. And what I've said to people is I think the biggest problem I have with all Americans, but liberals especially, they really seem to believe that the world is just going to bounce, that everything, no matter what anyone does, everything's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Everything's just going to be fine. And the future, like, I even like, you know, people that we know, I guess we had Tim Warner, he talks about people hating Trump. And he says, like, oh, you don't have to pay attention. And it's like, for someone who's like such a liberal anarchist, that's a really weird attitude, because this is not superficial. People are dying.
Yeah.
People are having their children taken away. Kids are getting raped in detention centers. And the long-term effects haven't even begun to really kick in.
Yeah, but I also think it's important not to think history began in 2016 and Trump is the first mean man to be a president. Like, there's a lot of stuff this country's guilty of for a long time. If anything, he's a part of a larger mosaic.
Have you seen that Vietnam documentary by Ken Burns? Oh, it's unbelievable. But it's basically it's the same thing happening in the 60s.
Yeah.
It was presidents lying and doing their own self-image and worrying about that and killing people because to save themselves. It's the same thing.
So we're going to have to wrap it up. But before we go, just tell everyone where they can follow you on social media, what projects you have going on, shows you have coming up. I'll start with you, Dave.
Oh, me. You can see me at Dave Cyrus. That's spelled S like virus, S-I-R-U-S. I have some dates coming up that'll probably have already happened by the time this episode comes out. So give yourselves a week, everybody. But I am going to be in Syracuse at Funkin' Waffles on September 30th. I'll be at Gotham on September 27th. Empire Casino, September 26th. And Philly Comedy Club, September 14th.
David.
All right, David, you can follow me on Twitter at Spector DeForce, Spector like my last name, and then DeForce. And I've got a show coming up at Sing Sing on September 14th. Bad News, come out, check it out.
You can find me, it's jeremypinsley.com. There's no E in Pinsley, P-I-N-S-L-Y. At JerBearPinsley on all my social media. I'll be at the New York Comedy Club next Tuesday, so whatever date that is that the 10th, 11th, 12th, whatever it is. And then I'm headlining at the Relapse Theater in Atlanta at the end of the month. And that's check them out.
Oh, and I'm judging the next Roast Battle New York Comedy Club Thursday.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Nice.
And doing a spot.
Nice.
Beauty.
You can follow me on Twitter at Marissa Smith. You can follow this show on Twitter at The Blame Storm. Also, check out my other podcast, Big Talkin' Brewskis. You can follow that on Twitter at Big Talkin' Brew. And I will be at Broadway Comedy Club on the 14th at 10 o'clock for Fashionably Funny. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.